Hello, welcome to Global Insight. Ukraine and Russia agreed to a ceasefire in the Black Sea, brokered by the United States. However, this fragile peace was short-lived as both countries are now trading accusations over recent attacks. On your screen is what has become of a part of Ukraine in the wake of Russian multiple drone strike. Buildings stand broken, their walls burned and torn apart, streets are filled with rubble, shattered glass and the remains of cars destroyed by fire. Smoke rises into the sky, dark and heavy as if mourning the destruction. People wander the debris, their faces pale with shock, searching for anything left of their homes and lives. It is quiet, heavy scene, filled with loss and pain, but also with a slight, silent strength as survivors try to move forward. The U.S. brokered deal announced on March 25 aimed to halt military strikes on vessels in the Black Sea. The deal's key provisions include an immediate ceasefire, a commitment from both sides not to launch military strikes on vessels in the Black Sea, and the resumption of Ukrainian grain exports from its Black Sea ports. In exchange, Russia has agreed to allow the U.S. to lift some restrictions on Russian agricultural exports. Additionally, the U.S. has agreed to lift some sanctions on Russian banks and insurance companies. The agreement was seen as a positive step towards reducing tensions between Ukraine and Russia. However, the deal's implementation is contingent upon the lifting of some Western sanctions on Russia, which remains a point of contention. The U.S. played a crucial role in brokering the deal, with American diplomats negotiating the agreement between Russia and Ukraine. The international community has welcomed the deal, hailing it as a major diplomatic achievement. Nevertheless, the deal's implementation and the parties' commitment to it will be closely monitored as the situation remains volatile. Just a day after the ceasefire agreement, Ukraine's Air Force reported a massive drone attack launched from Russia. A total of 117 drones were deployed, with at least 56 shot down and 48 lost due to electronic warfare. Unfortunately, no damage was caused. Ukraine's President Vladimir Zelensky, on his X handle, condemned the overnight attack, stating that it was a clear signal that Russia is not interested in pursuing peace. Russia, on the other hand, denied any involvement in the attack and accused Ukraine of targeting Russian energy infrastructure. The recent developments highlights the fragile nature of the ceasefire agreement, with both sides trading accusations and denying responsibility. It remains to be seen whether the Black Sea deal will hold water. This new escalation seems to align with Marco Rubio's remarks on the same day. Marco Rubio, the U.S. Secretary of State, highlighted the complexity of achieving peace in the ongoing conflict between Russia and Ukraine. He emphasized that the U.S. would evaluate Russia's conditions for agreements, but warned that reaching a peace deal would be a gradual process.
The goal is to end a war where people are dying. And I think everyone should be happy that the United States is engaged in a process of ending a war and bringing about peace. It's not going to be easy. It won't be simple. It'll take some time. But at least we're on that road and we're talking about these things. And we're going to test it and see what's possible.
Meanwhile, President Donald Trump, in a recent interview with Newsmax on Tuesday, expressed his doubts about Russia's commitment to ceasefire in the ongoing conflict. According to Trump, Russia might be dragging their feet when it comes to negotiating an end to war. This statement comes as a surprise, given the recent efforts to broker a ceasefire in the region. Trump's concerns about Russia's intentions are not unfounded. With a history of broken deals, Russia's track record raises questions about its willingness to adhere to ceasefire agreements. In fact, according to a military analyst, Michael Clark, Russia has broken as many as 190 deals. This lack of trust only adds to the complexity of the situation.
Diplomacy, but we're hearing that maybe Russia is dragging its feet at this point, and Zelensky has shown some openness, especially after what happened in the Oval Office a few weeks ago. Is that accurate at this point?
I don't know. I mean, I'll let you know at a certain point, but I think that Russia wants to see an end to it, but it could be they're dragging their feet. I've done it over the years. You know, I don't want to sign a contract. I want to sort of stay in the game, but maybe I don't want to do it quite. I'm not sure. But no, I think Russia would like to see it end, and I think Zelensky would like to see it end at this point. We had a case last week where Ukrainian soldiers were surrounded by Russian soldiers, and this was not good. And I think I had a big impact on not having all of them killed, but they were killed. It's a bloody war. You know, they lose 2,500 people on average a week. Think of that, 2,500. They're not Americans, but it doesn't matter to me from that standpoint. They're Russians and Ukrainians, and they're killing each other at levels that, you know, you just don't see. There's been nothing like it since the Second World War. It's almost like I see the pictures of the battlefields. I'd rather not even see them. Where you have arms and legs and heads all over the field. The weaponry is ridiculous. It's a big drone deal now. You know, drones are taking over the world. And I just want to see it stop. I also don't want to pay. You know, Biden paid $350 billion. Europe paid $100 billion. And I said, why didn't they equalize? Why were we so far ahead of Europe? Then I found out that Europe, as you know, took loans. In other words, they gave it in the form of loans. We didn't. But I was able to make a deal for rare earth, which will be good. At least we don't feel so stupid. But we had $350 billion, and so we're $250 billion more than Europe. Isn't it ridiculous? And we had a man in office who was grossly incompetent. And I hate to say it, but he was grossly incompetent. And now I'm learning a lot more than I learned then. You know, now I'm seeing some of the things they did, some of the fraud. Look at billions of dollars going to environmental groups that, you know what that money's for. That money's not for environment. It's so incredible when I'm looking at what's happened to our country, allowing open borders where millions of people have come into our country, millions and millions of people, 21 million people, of which a number of millions of people are stone cold bad actors from jails, from prisons, and from mental institutions. I always say from insane asylums, which is a mental institution on steroids, from gangs and the gangs in the streets of Venezuela and many other places, not just South America. And when you think that a man would allow these people to come into our country, murderers, we had 11,088 murderers, people that killed, many killed more than one person. These people are in our country, but we're getting...
The ongoing conflict in Ukraine has seen numerous attempts at ceasefire negotiations with varying degrees of success. The latest developments, including potential ceasefire deal, offer a glimmer of hope. However, Trump's comments serve as a reminder that the path to peace is fraught with challenges and uncertainties. And what do you think? Do you believe that Trump's claim that Putin would always respect him when it comes to peace deal will hold water? Let me know your thoughts on the comment section. You're watching Global Insights. For more on this, do not hesitate to hit the like button, make your comments, share this video, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. I am Tochku Raphael. See you tomorrow.